everyone! So today I'm going to be talking about makeup brushes. I'm going to be covering makeup brushes for face, for your eyes, and also a special tool that I really love to use every single day. I'm going to be listing every single brush slash tool that I mention in this video in the description box down below. So I guess I'm just gonna start off with that one tool that I said that I love to use every single day, and it is the Beauty Blender sponge. I think everyone has heard about the Beauty Blender. I love this thing. I use it every single day to apply my foundation. I also use it to blend out my concealer, and if I'm wearing a cream blush, I will use this to blend out my cream blush as well, or any cream products that I use on my face. This just blends beautifully. It blends out liquids and creams almost so that it looks airbrushed, more seamless than any bristle brush that I've used before. So this is definitely an essential item in my routine. Now I'm gonna get on to face brushes. So I feel like just basic big powder brushes are essential. I have a couple different types here. This one you can see here has a bit more of a kind of rounded top. This is great for applying all over face powder, bronzer, or just anything that you're applying in a bigger surface area on the face. I like this specific one because it has a lot of give to it. It's not too stiff. And then this Sigma one here, it's like a bit more of a flat shape. This one I really like using as a bronzer brush because it is a little bit flat, so you can kind of get a little bit more of that contour type of motion. If I'm using more of a foundation powder or a powder that has a little more coverage to it, it's more flat, so I can just press that foundation powder or whatever powder into my face. Yeah, big powder brushes. Moving on to cheek brushes, I have a few different types here. So I'm gonna start off with just a classic kind of paddle shaped brush, great for working on the cheeks, good for blush. This specific one here is a MAC brush. It's the number 116 brush. It's a smaller paddle-shaped brush, ideal for doing blush. I love using this as a highlighting brush just because it's the perfect size for that. Then this one here is by the brand Hakuhodo. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about Hakuhodo, but they are a beautiful brand of brushes. They're, I believe, a Japanese brand, and I found out about Hakuhodo through YouTube. And when I went to IMATS in Vancouver a couple years ago, I got one of their kits, and I absolutely love these brushes. They're so soft, beautifully cut, and they just get the job done. There's no picking little hairs off of your face, and they wash beautifully. Great for doing blush. That's the only thing I usually use this brush for. It's just the perfect shape for a nice blush application. Next up, I have my MAC 109 brush. This is a very multi-purpose brush. A lot of people love using this for contour. I also love using it for highlight on the cheekbones. Also, if I'm working on a client, I really enjoy using this brush as an all-over powder brush. This is a non-invasive brush that you have a lot of control with. Next up, I have a brush by the brand Real Techniques, and these brushes are designed by Samantha Chapman of Pixie Woo. I really enjoy using this brush for bronzer. I think it's mainly synthetic, though I don't think there's any natural hairs in this brush. And the reason why I love using this brush for bronzer is because I can get a little bit of the contour vibe with this, but I'm also able to really buff that bronzer into my skin. This brush is also great for foundation, liquid foundation, cream foundation, and it does not shed because it's synthetic. So synthetic brushes don't really shed, which is awesome. And the last face brush I have to talk about is the MAC 130 brush. This is a duo fiber brush. Natural hairs on the bottom, synthetic on the top. I like this specific one because it's small. This is great to apply a cream blush. I love using this also if I'm doing concealing work and I want like optimum coverage. You're also able to really stipple on the skin with a brush like this, which is great for if you're experiencing a little more like texture around the like nose with pores, or if you have like dry flaky skin. Doing like a buffing motion is not the most ideal because it will disturb the texture on the skin, so stippling is great. So now let's move on to eye brushes. The first brush for eyes that I'm going to talk about is my MAC 227 brush. This is probably one of their biggest eye brushes. I love using this brush to set my under eye concealer. I just pack a little bit of translucent powder onto this brush and then I just press right under my eyes. And this brush just applies it beautifully. It does not move the concealer, so I keep the coverage that I build up underneath my eyes. I also like using this to highlight the brow bone because it is so big and a little bit fluffy. You're able to kind of blend out any harsh lines. Alright, next we have fluffy brushes. Now I have a couple different types here. The first one here is probably the most popular. This is the MAC 217. Now this brush I find is best for placing color into the crease of the eye just because it is a little more compact. You can totally blend your eyeshadow with this, but I find it's best for placing color in the crease, and also because it has a bit of like a flat shape, you can also pack on your lid color with this. You can also smudge out the bottom lash line with this, highlight with this. So if you're only gonna take one eye brush with you, if you're like traveling or you're just starting to expand your brush collection, I feel like if you don't have a brush like this, this should be #1 on your list, in my opinion. Next up, I have the classic blending brush. This one is the Sigma one. It's a little fluffier, it's a little bigger, so I feel like you can really get a very flawless blend. It has a lot of give to it, but not too much. A lot of people will also use this type of brush for concealer underneath the eyes or just around the face. Favorite blending brush. Next up, we have flat brushes. Now, flat brushes are great for packing color onto the eyelid. They're also great for smudging out the bottom lash line and applying highlight if you want more of like a precise kind of crisp highlight. This one is the MAC 239. This is a very, very popular brush, just like the 217. It's made of goat hair. I like the goat hair brushes best for placing color because I feel like they pick up the most pigment and get the most pigment onto the skin without as much fallout. The other flat brush that I have here is by Hakuhodo, and I got it in that kit that I was talking about from iMats. This one is a little longer and it's a little thinner than the 239. Again, I love using this to press eyeshadow onto the eyelid. This one just has like a little bit more like give to it because the bristles are a little bit longer than the 239. Next up are pencil brushes. Both of these here I have are made of goat hair. One is by MAC. This is the 219 brush, and this is one from Hakuhodo that I got from the kit. Now, the one from Hakuhodo is going to be a little bit smaller than the MAC one, if you can see. The Hakuhodo one I find is a little bit better if I'm like highlighting the inner corner of the eye or if I'm smudging out the bottom lash line, just because it is a little smaller and a little more precise. And then the MAC one, I love this brush. I use this brush so much when I'm doing my own makeup, but probably this is my most used brush when I'm doing someone else's makeup. I'm able to smudge out liner with this brush, able to apply along the lash line. It just gets the job done. I have this brush by Hakuhodo. This is a super tiny little guy that I love using, again, for highlighting on the inner corner or smudging out liner. And this brush, I find, gives me the most precision just because of its size and its density. It's super dense. Doesn't have quite as much give as a pencil brush does, just a lot stiffer. Alrighty, the last group of brushes that I have to talk about today are eyeliner brushes. Now, having a good eyeliner brush is like key. If you want good eyeliner, you have to have a good brush. I have 3 here I want to talk about. The first one is an angle brush. Now, this one is the MAC 208 brush. It is a bit more of like a coarse fiber, so it's great for working on brows because it gets between the hairs rather than just kind of shading on top of the hairs, because I personally love to use powders in the brows. Sometimes use it for eyeliner, but it's a little more coarse, so it can tend to be a little harsh on the eye. But if I'm trying to get like a very precise winged liner, I will use this brush. Another brush that I love using for eyeliner, this brush I mostly use for gel eyeliner or cream eyeliner. This is synthetic hair, so it's great for working with creams. It's slightly tapered, so it's a little thicker on the base and a little thinner when we get to the tip here. So it's great for creating a very smooth, crisp line. The last brush I have to talk about, I talked about in one of my previous videos, how to apply winged eyeliner, and it's a brush by the brand Loew Cornell. You can get that brand from Michael's or I think like any craft store. This kind of brush is great for, again, working with cream or gel eyeliner because it's synthetic, so it gives you a very smooth, crisp line when you're applying that kind of product. And when you're buying like a craft store brush, you're not really too worried about like ruining it because this brush literally costs like $3 or like $4 or something. Alrighty, you guys, so those are all the brushes I have to talk about today. I'm just gonna talk about a couple more things just because brush care is also super important. One of my favorite cleansers to use for my tools is the MAC brush cleaner. I like this because it's dual purpose. You can use it to spot clean your brushes for like a daily clean just on like a paper towel, and then you can also use this as a brush shampoo. My other favorite thing that I like to use to clean my tools is the blender cleanser, and I like the solid version, and it's really the only thing that I have found that thoroughly cleans my beauty blender sponge. I also clean my brushes sometimes with this, so I just alternate between this and my MAC cleanser, and my brushes are happy. That's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I know there was a lot, but I feel like if you get at least like one brush from each one of those categories, you know, you get your big face brush, cheek brush, fluffy, your flat, your angle brush, and maybe like a smudgy brush, and you're good to go. As long as you take care of them, your brushes will last you a very long time. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Love you guys. Bye!